In today's episode, I'm going to be painting my first ever Warmachine miniatures. Does this make me a Warhammer trader? Hey everybody, welcome to Mobhammer. I'm Mob. In the world of tabletop gaming and miniatures, Warhammer is arguably the dominating force. However, there are a plethora of other wargaming options, including Warmachine. First published by Privateer Press in 2003, Warmachine was acquired by Steamforged Games in 2024. As part of the new acquisition, they have released a new two-player starter set which includes two forces, Cygnar and Khador, both classic Warmachine armies. My buddy Corey over at Lazy Sunday Gaming had me on his channel and challenged me.
So we're going to give the Khador half of this box to Mobhammer 40K, and he's going to take them home. Yes, Mob.
We'll see you soon.
He's going to take those home where he's going to paint them. We're going to take our Cygnar half to Lazy Sunday channel, where I'll be painting. After that, we're going to come right back here to Brooklyn Game Night in History City, where we're going to battle it out on the channel and find out if this game and this box set really can hook new wargamers.
So, a whole new game and a whole new set of rules to learn. But the thing I wanted to prioritize the most is making some good looking miniatures in the time I had before our showdown. I mean, there are only 5 miniatures. It can't be that hard, right? A Warmachine army is made up of various units and models, but what truly sets them apart is the gameplay mechanic of including a powerful robotic entity known as a warjack, and its controlling sorcerer, a warcaster. No matter what happens during the game, if you can kill the enemy warcaster, you win. The golden snitch, if you will. For the challenge, I am painting the Khador half of the box, which comprises of, and I'm going to butcher these names, Sergeant Goran Lozarenko, the Jackal, a 3-model unit known as the Hounds, and the Warjack Razor. Corey was kind enough to build all the miniatures, so I just got to focus on painting. Like all my miniatures, I start by priming. I love the official red color of the Khador, so I thought I would make it pop a little bit more. After adding a white Zenithal on all the miniatures, I spray them with Viejo Game Color ink, giving all their armor a nice gradient from top to bottom. However, I eventually learned that the ink probably wasn't the best way to start the base coat, because it seemed to affect a little of the surface tension of the paints when I started to apply them, but I persevered. For any exposed skin, I used Pro Acryl Tan Flesh. I wanted to work painting from the inside out. I then went on to the black details, going back and forth between Pro Acryl Coal Black and Game Color Black to get the coverage I needed. It was really nice to basically be able to paint all of the miniatures together. Focusing only on the black trim first, I was able to get a really nice uniformity between all of the miniatures. Since I was going for the official paint scheme, it was really nice to have many of the decisions already made for me. But as I got more familiar with the miniatures, I did have some trouble picking out what details were supposed to be what. Luckily, I at least had the frontal images of all the models online, but had to take my best guess with some of the hidden details and on the behind areas of the miniatures. So I had made some progress while painting, even streaming during the whole process. Shout out to Headhunter for being there almost every stream. And I thought I had everything timed out correctly, but did I say I started a new job recently? If you're a podcaster or someone who's looking to start podcasting and you're in the Los Angeles, California, New York City, or Austin, Texas area, you should look up Melrose Podcasts, a podcast studio that yours truly is an in-house producer at. You can book different hourly packages which include single or multicam as well as editing. Hours that are incredibly flexible and help with whatever schedule you have. In fact, some weekends I'm on call to come in should anyone book. Just be sure to tell them that Mobhammer sent you. You may be thinking to yourself, Mob, that was an interesting segue into a commercial. But no, it's actually part of the story. Getting closer to game day, I thought I could finish it all the day before. However, that very morning, I was actually on call at Melrose and a last-minute booking came in, so I had to pivot quick. Gotta pay those bills, everybody. My plan was to do an enamel wash, but I need to get all the colors down first, then varnish the miniatures so that I would have time to dry by the time I got back. It was down to the wire. I wanted a bright metallic color that could stand to be dulled down later, so I went with Game Color Silver. This was probably the most exciting part of the painting process so far, both with how fast I need to paint and the joy in seeing the colors come together, but I was definitely rushing. The next metallic I was going to use was Brassy Brass, which was going to be the color for the ventilation gear as well as some of the other detail accents that made the figure pop. Some of the characters also had goggles. With sky blue, I painted the base layer of any of their lenses. For their satchels and pouches, I used a base layer of golden brown. At this point, I was getting more familiar with what details were what on each mini, so I ended up having to go back and forth to make sure I kept as much uniformity between all the details as possible. I then used mahogany for some of the bits of certain weapons that seemed to be made out of wood. For the Jackal's rockets, I used green. Now, I was going to have to leave soon, so I had to get these details done. With Pro Acryl Orange, I highlighted all the rivets across the miniatures. With white, I started highlighting some of the details in the black recesses, as well as prepping some surfaces for what I was hoping to eventually become a glowing effect. Stonewall Gray was used for the Soul Concrete on my Warcaster's base, and Horde Bronze was used for the scrap head the Jackal was standing on top of on his base. Before rushing out, I used Technical Art Coat, a glassy varnish to cover any surface of the miniatures. It was time to go! I had 12 hours left. The varnish had dried nicely. Considering the wintry theme of the Khador, I used AK's Winter Streaking Grime to make things messy. Always use a crummy brush when applying the oil paints, and be sure to protect the surface of your workspace. In my rush, I end up splattering some of the oil paint on my computer monitor, and I can't seem to remove it. Let this be a warning. Just be careful of your messes. After letting them sit for 15 minutes, I grabbed a clean rag and began removing the preliminary layer of the enamel wash. After getting as much as I can with the dry rag, it's time to get some more of the tinier details with Q-tips and some Gamsol white spirits. This took me a bit of time. Now the miniatures are still shiny, so I grab my ultra matte varnish and spray everything through the airbrush, significantly dulling them down. Nice. With white, I go back and paint the spaces I wish to create the glow effect with. On Razor's Shield, it's easiest, but on the smaller characters, it's a bit trickier. While that dries, I thought it was time to bring up some of the highlights. With tan flesh, I brought back some of the details of the face, and then golden yellow for the pouches and hair. With the maize yellow speed paint, I was able to get the impression there was some sort of glow emitting from the parts of the armor and shield. I then did the same for the humanoid units as well. Painting a thin white line, it was able to give the impression of an emitting heat source. I then used a flesh wash to try and bring back some more contrast to the face of the humans. Because of the loss of details, both through my rushing of the process and the use of the oil wash, it was imperative that I went through and used all of my original paints to add another highlight layer so the details could stand out. So that's what I did. For the Jackal's rocket launcher, I wanted to make sure that the smoke effect looked as realistic as I could. So I used a mix of maize yellow speed paint and plasma red express color and a black wash to create an explosive effect. After cleaning up the bases of the black and attempting to make some detail work with the faces, I had hit midnight and I was out of time. I needed to rest, and I hadn't really had a chance to fully memorize all the rules. Luckily, Steamforged Game actually makes reading and learning the rules fairly easy by making everything available on their Warmachine app for free. End of this experience, I wanted to say from the perspective of a painter how much I really do like the looks of these models. But because they are quite different than what I painted before, there was definitely a bit of a learning curve to understanding the details. Giving more time, I think I could have made these guys look immaculate. But on the tabletop, I'm quite proud of how they pop, and I'm looking forward to more opportunities to both paint and, yes, play Warmachine. So let me know how you think I did down in the comments below, and let's check out the miniatures. If you're interested in checking out Warmachine, this 2-player star set is really nice, and you can find all the rules for free on Steam Forge's Warmachine app. If you want to see how the duel turned out, as well as see how a game of Warmachine plays, be sure to check out Lazy Sunday's YouTube channel, where the battle report will be posted very soon. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!